Okay, will you introduce yourself to us?
My name is Heather. Hi. And I'm 31, and I've been natural for a long time. 16? No. I was 16 when I cut my hair, and I'm 15 now. You do the math. I'm 31 now. Woo! Nervous. Okay, I'm 31 now. I was 16 when I cut my hair. You know what I mean.
Don't be nervous. And did you transition or did you big chop?
I big chopped. I got the clippers out. That was probably my brother's clippers, and cut it all off. And my mom cried, and she got over it though. Yeah.
And how did you feel once that hair hit the floor? What went through your head when you saw the beginnings of the hair? You were buzzing.
I was like, yes! Ah! I was like, I'm so cool. I thought I was the coolest person in the world. I at the time was very much doing my own thing. I would go thrift shopping. I was definitely more into having a unique style. So anything I could, at that, I mean, when I was like 15, 16, yeah, 16. So anything I could do that was like more me, what felt really good and liberating and adventurous and fun. And so yeah, when as more hair left, I was just like, yes. And my mom cried. I was like, told you. It's terrible. No, I fell in love with that.
Speaking of your mother crying, did you feel like you had support? I mean, you
Oh,
were 16. I know a lot of times parents are like, you're still in my house. You have to do whatever I feel.
absolutely.
Like, my beauty standards have to become yours. How did you navigate through that?
It was difficult. It was probably one of the more difficult things for me was actually my relationship with my mother and her perception of me when I cut my hair. I think changed significantly. I mean, I could do all kinds of things with my aesthetic, my wardrobe, but the hair for her was a big deal. It was something that stripped me of my femininity. It stripped me of something that I think she thought was a part of what God wanted for me. So there was, it was like, that's your hair is your crown and glory. I heard that a lot growing up, and because it was a big chop versus just going natural, it was, I think, a little more difficult for her to adjust to. Um,
Because you made a transition in your mind about what you wanted to do,
right.
but she
She
hadn't
was,
yet.
yeah, she was still waiting for me to grow out my hair and ask for a perm. And fortunately, my grandmother, who's always been very supportive, was able to be there for me. And she's always had a tiny little afro for as long as I can remember. So there was, I could just talk to grandma when I felt some type of way, and she was my support. When my mom wasn't able to be supportive or understanding, my grandmother was just like, "Girl, just she'll get over it, or, it'll be it's your hair ultimately." And my grandmother, knew that it had nothing to do with, anything as far as like my femininity or being less of a woman or anything like that. I think it was just she understood it was who I was, and she grew up in. It's strange because my mom was a product of the 80s. She grew up in the 80s, so my mom was really into like feathering her hair and doing curls and like had big hair, but it was all very perm. My grandmother was she went through the 60s, and all of her she saw her daughters with afros, and she saw the that sort of 70s 60s affirmation of blackness, and I think that she's always maintained that.
And as your hair grew, what became some styles that you gravitated toward? When
I don't even know what I was doing with my hair then. It was, it took me a long time to figure out how to take care of my hair. I might have been natural, but I wasn't. I mean, I wore hats a lot. I wore scarves a lot. The Erica Badu wrap was like my go-to. And I think after a while, I figured out that I would go to the store and try different products, and there was like hair mayonnaise I think I was using, and olive oil. Olive oil's been a staple forever, but yeah, it was just like a lot of experimenting.
and what are some of your go-to products that you like to use?
Currently, it depends on what I'm doing with my hair. I usually wash it once a week, sometimes once every 2 weeks, and I'll use. What's going on? What is happening over there? They are using. Wait.
It's fine.
No. All right. So my go-to currently is a leave-in conditioner, Karen's Beautiful Body, and the Karen's Beautiful Body more moisture. Is it Super Duper hydrating butter? I'm sorry, the Super
How do you
Duper.
like it?
I love it. I use the leave-in conditioner. I use the Super Duper hydrating butter, and I use that for my twist out. So I just put the leave-in conditioner in, and then I use that on my ends. And then my go-to shampoo and conditioner is the Joico conditioner, and the shampoo I actually use Dr. Bronner shampoo because it has a low pH, so it doesn't make my hair feel really dry after I use it. But I always try to do a pre-poo with coconut oil, so I'll just put like a bunch of coconut oil in my hair and try to detangle it as best I can before I get in the shower. And then when I get in the shower, I have a wide tooth comb and I'll have the conditioner in my hair and I'll use that to kind of gently get the rest of the tangles out. But at that point, with the pre-poo in the coconut oil, it doesn't really take much for me to detangle. So I found that is a really important part of my product, my regimen, is the coconut oil.
Awesome. And do you have any style icons?
Style icons? I don't know. I think I'm my style icon.
You are. You're my style icon.
I mean, I try to, I like, I honestly, there's so many people who've inspired me. Diana Ross has inspired me. Shaka Khan has inspired me. I like really flamboyant and exaggerated and dramatic women who aren't afraid to embrace being powerful and who aren't afraid to embrace being unique. Betty Davis, that they're all, I think they are my inspiration, and they all happen to have had natural hair at some point or extensions that look like natural hair, whatever, but they were doing themselves, which I think is ultimately what I find to be important in my style goal all the time.
But it works because you're like ultra fly, ultra. And
I don't have that. I want the coif that Grace has. I want that.
Okay, you
That's
can
the
have
next
it.
goal.
And do you have any advice that you would give to someone who is either thinking about going natural or who already is and they may be having a hard time? What would you tell them or advise them?
I have family members who have thought about going natural, and I usually support them. It's harder, I feel like, for young girls to go natural. They don't have a lot as far as people to look up to. My sister, she really had no idea where to start, and I explained to her that the biggest obstacle was going to just be having faith in your hair. Like, your hair is going to work itself out. You just have to trust it. And I think we get used to getting it permed and just pulling it back in a ponytail, or having that routine, that to adjust to a new routine just takes a little bit of time. So that's usually my advice, is just let your hair will be fine. You have to get used to doing it a different way and thinking about it a different way. It's
That's awesome.
usually my advice. Yeah.
That's awesome advice. Well, thank you very much.
Welcome. Bye.